Welcome everybody to NoCoders Office Hours, episode number 201. I'm your host Tanya, and we're here with members Ben, Jesus, and Callum. And we're going to get started in just a moment, but if this is your first time tuning into a NoCoders Office Hours session, what it is we invite our Office Hours members onto our Zoom, which we do 6 times per week, and they can ask us any bubble questions they want, and we do our best to get them answered. We, of course, can't promise all of the answers because we don't have all of them, but nobody does. But we can promise you won't suffer with your problem alone. Nobody suffers here alone. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Jesus, you said you had some questions?
Yes. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the timeline for my site and to be more personalized. And so basically what I would like to do is every user get to see tutorials for the tools that they follow and not just like an endless list of stuff that they might not care about.
Got it. Okay.
Is there any way to do that?
Yeah, we could do that. I'm thinking through it. Hang on just a second. Do you want me to continue sharing my screen, or did you want to share your screen?
Can I share mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is on the repeating group, well, I don't really. One question.
So my first question is, how are you storing the tools that they're using? Like, where is that stored? Is it stored on the user?
That's a good question. I don't remember. No, it's stored on the tool.
It's stored on the tool. Okay, that's going to be a little bit trickier. Let's see here.
Let me see. Yeah.
So on the timeline, so it's a post, right? That they're looking at?
Correct.
Post thing, and the post thing will have a type of tool.
Yes. So this is how the timeline looks like right now.
Okay. And then you want it so that if I've signed up for Zapier and Pabbly, like and said that these are tools that I use, then you want to show me Pabbly and Zapier posts.
Correct. So if I click follow here, then my timeline will be filled with tutorials for Pabbly. And then if I follow Zapier as well, then I will have tutorials for Pabbly and Zapier.
Okay. And right now you're storing on the tool a list of followers.
Correct.
Like a list of users. Okay. So that's going to be fine for your MVP, but like, let's say in time, you're going to have lots of people following different tools. It will break when you get to 10,000 followers on any particular tool, right?
Okay.
Because Bubble will only store 10,000 references there. Let's not worry about that right now, because what we can also do is at the same time that they click that follow button, we can create a follow thing in the database. And the reason, do you want me to prototype this out and show you what I mean, as opposed to doing it in your app?
Yeah, I don't think I'm following what you're saying.
Okay, sure. You're not following what I'm saying about following? So many the same words get used over and over again.
I know.
Okay, so in yours we have a tool thing. The tool thing has a name and all sorts of other things as well. And it has a list of followers, which are of type user list, like that. Then we have what I'm recommending is to also have a follow thing in the database. So yours would just probably say follow. And then the follow is going to have an owner of type user. And then a tool of type tool. Right? And when a user follows a particular tool, it will create one of these records in there. The reason for doing this is now you also have a post and the post is going to have a tool of type tool like that. And what we want to be able to do
So let me ask you. Would it be easy to create another field on the user database, say for like tools that user follow?
Yeah, the reason that I'm not doing that is there's that limitation, but also you're going to load the user, like every time you load something, you're going to have the current user. So you really want to make, for speed purposes, you want to make your data types, like all the fields on your data types, as lightweight as possible.
Okay.
Right. So that's the reason I opted to make a separate thing in the database for this. Because when I'm doing a search for posts, so I'm going to go to posts like this, in the data source, I'm going to do a search for all of the posts, but I'm going to constrain it where the tool is contained by, let's see here, we'll maybe filter it instead. Trying to figure out the best way to get to it. Filtered by the tool is in. Do a search for follow, where the owner is the current user. So the tool is in the search for follows and then each item's tool. So this is going to give us a list of all the tools that the current user is following. And it's going to make sure that the tool is included in that list.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you can test that out. We can test that now. We can just do a little bit of data here, right? So I go to tools, new entry. So the name, we could do Zapier. And we'll do having trouble typing this morning. What is going on? Okay, so we have the two different tools here. Yes, Bubble, I know it's Monday and you don't want to work either. I get it. I wish they would give me the refresh button even when it doesn't have any data in there. Okay, so I have these two tools. You can still store the followers on them because you're probably going to want to do a count. Like you can show how many people are following Pavly Connect, and it would be easier to do it this way, just remember that limitation, right? Like once one of these has 10,000, you'll have to move to a different method. But then let's see here, we're going to do a post for each of these. New entry. Tool. Here. And then I'm going to have to put some, no, that should be sufficient. And then Pabbly. And then follows. All right, so I'm going to follow Zapier, but not Pabbly. And so if I go into here and I say text, we want the current posts tools name in here. And I just want to check my privacy rules. Yeah, they're all publicly visible. So now if I go to my app data here, there are two things in the list, right? So if I added another follow here, I'll see both things. So if I go and then I run as that user, I should see both. Yep, so I see both. But now if I come in here and I remove that follow from Pabbly, for Pabbly, if I just take this and I delete this, now I didn't. Yeah, so I didn't delete the post, I just deleted the follow. And so if I come in here, I only see Zapier.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I need.
Okay. Did you follow that? You want me to recap it for you?
No, because I can watch the recording.
Okay.
Right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely go back to the recording.
Okay. Awesome. I'll send you, if you don't, it takes a while for Zoom to process the recordings, but if you're looking for the recording later, just ping me because I can send you the recording so you don't have to wait a week for it to go online.
Okay.
So, yep.
I appreciate that.
Anybody else come up with any questions in the meantime?
No, I'm just building out the news section of my app again. It's pretty much done with the rest of it.
Got it.
We kind of spoke about it briefly a while ago, but are you able to walk through maybe if there's, if it's easy enough, the steps of sending kind of a repeating group as a newsletter? Like if you want to send a user, hey, these are all the things that you follow or something like that as a repeating group, is that possible?
So if you want to send a repeating group in an email, like yeah, as a table? Yeah,
or however you can kind of do it just so that they know all their latest notifications or something like that without actually having to build it out per user.
I'm thinking we can send lists of things in an email, right? So if I wanted to send this list to a user an email, I could put a button here And then I could send an email. And then in the body, I could send repeating groups, list of posts formatted as text.
Mhm.
And then the content I could do would be this JV posts tool name.
Mhm.
And then I could say what the delimiter would be, and I'd probably just want a return there, right?
Mhm.
So then if I sent this email to the, I'm just going to send it to an email that I actually have access to for demonstration purposes. Subject list of follows. So when I click that button, it's going to send me an email with the list of follows, which right now is just one. So I'm actually going to go back and create the second follow again so that you can see what happens. So the owner is this one, and the follow is Padley. So then if I preview, I should see the two things on my list and a button. So I click the button, and then pardon my very messy email.
Hmm.
And you can see I have my list.
Okay. Cool.
Was that your question? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it was. I'm just gonna, and I figure that you kind of use some HTML or something to make it into something.
Yes, and we have a video on how to do something like that in the vault. Let me go find
Awesome.
it for you. Structuring line items in a SendGrid email.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah. So
And would there be a way to do that on a recurring as opposed to on a button push? So every Monday we send all the users their latest notifications or something like that.
Yep, we would come in here and we just make a regular API workflow, so recurring email, current follow email. And then we could do essentially the same thing that we did before. So I can just go to email, send email. And then again, I'll put body. We would just do the same search terms as we were doing for the repeating groups. So in this case, it would be, or for this one, we could just do the follows directly. So follows where the owner equals current user. And then we could just format that as text. So each item here, we have access to the dynamic thing. So this JV follows tool name, and then the delimiter, we can do a return. So now we just want to send this every 24 hours. So we would say, come in here, schedule the workflow to run again. Current date and time plus 1 day.
Gotcha.
Right? And now we would just need to trigger it from that button, and it would send it once per day. Like it would send it at the time that you press the button, and then 24 hours and every 24 hours after that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Hey, Thomas, how's it going?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. Do you have any questions for today?
No questions, just tuning in.
Well, we're happy to have you. Jesus, do you have any more questions for today?
No, not for today.
No,
Struggle.
you need to rest and feel better. Let's see. What should we build? We should do something. Actually, do you mind holding on, guys? I'll be right back. All right, Attaboy, welcome. You want to tell me what your question is?
Yeah, okay.
And you can take over my screen if you like.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll forget. I won't forget to share my screen today. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, 1 second. Let me just share screen. Where's that at now? Gotcha. And so you showed me how this worked the last time, right? And it did. But now that I'm using reusable elements, it doesn't seem to be working again. It was driving me nuts all through yesterday. So let's go to add purchase orders. Awesome. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in the add purchase orders. Yeah. So it has to do with, I want to increase this repeating group, right? So pretty much the workflow is I come here, right? I create a data type purchase order, which this is the workflow. 1 second, let me go back. Okay, it's add now, right? It's correct. So add now, right? Create new purchase order, right? Then since I'm using URL parameters, right? So it takes it to that page where I'm actually supposed to create the items.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I put in all the data here, the groups and everything. Usually I'm supposed to just press an add item and instantly the repeating group is just supposed to replicate itself, right? But it doesn't seem to be working now that I'm using reusable elements. And I don't know, maybe I've done something wrong.
So the first thing is when you go to so when you go to the page, when you click the add now button, go back to that workflow.
Add now, yep. Yep.
So when you click go to page purchase orders, so remember that you're not sending the group ads. So you're probably going to want to send the purchase order like as a URL parameter, right? Instead of group ads text, because that's changing what's showing on the screen, but that's not like you're creating the purchase order, but then you're probably trying to refer to that purchase order and you can't.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so for the order, instead of group ads text, we want to do the result of step 1's unique ID.
Okay. All right. Result of step 1's unique. Okay.
Okay, and then now what you want to do is the references that you had for that get data from the URL order, on the page in the design element.
Yep. So the reference.
So we need to check those references and make sure that, like, I mean, I think we probably just broke something because your page is expecting that group text in order to show and hide things, and instead we need to make it so that, like, when the order get info from the page URL order is not empty, then show this, right?
So let me get the group. So 1 second now. So sorry. What has happened there? Okay. Group add item. So this is the condition that is there. So get order from page URL when order, the parameter name is order and the type is text. So that's what I'm currently using. So now once it's that, then display this page.
Right. So get order from page URL. Probably the thing you want here is not empty. And then we have to look, but before you do that, we have to look at and see how all of the groups are set up. Because, like, when you're showing that group, you're hiding other groups, but what are you using to show the items part? If that makes sense.
What am I using to show the items part? I don't think I get you, Tanya.
Yeah, so right now you have groups on the page that are all hidden or showing based on what's in those URL parameters. So what I'm saying is when we say that it is not empty, we want to show the purchase order part. But when you click item, I need to understand how you're showing the items one.
Okay, so this first group that shows the list of the purchase orders, this is what I'm using. All right, group list, which is order text. So I think I'm using, once it shows a list, right, then display this page. That's what I'm using for this. Now for the third one, right, what I'm using is group display. This is what I'm using for the third one. Get contact from page URL, group display, contact. It shouldn't be that actually. I'm not even gotten there yet. It shouldn't be this.
Okay.
Because it should actually be purchase orders. I think I haven't even gotten to this page yet. I was trying to sort out just this one that it didn't work. Then I will now get to that, but yeah.
Right. So I think the point that I'm making, just so that you understand where I'm going with the questions, is there's two things happening. There's hiding and showing groups, and then there's showing particular information. And we need to make sure that the hiding and showing of groups is cohesive with the showing of the information, so that you're not just showing a group, but you don't have anything to show in that group.
Yeah.
Right. So when you add a new purchase order and it says to go to a different order, and so you were showing, like, the URL parameter was going to be that group 2's text, right? That's showing the group, but then what is showing in that group, right? Like, what are you showing in that group? Does it need to show the information from that particular purchase order you just made?
From this group, no, it's an input page.
It's an input only, and you're never going to want to edit the item from that page.
From that,
because it could
want to edit it.
What about editing? Sorry, I interrupted.
So usually, right? Okay, I'm going to want to edit the page from. So once I input from this page here, right? This group here, I input the data. This is the purchase order data. It's going to display it here in this group, right? So actually, I'm supposed to come here. If I don't like what I see, then I will now edit it from this page. Then I guess if I'm editing from this page, it's going to have to refer me back to this page to do the edit.
Okay, so you can probably undo what I just did with the exception of you'll still need to add the purchase order to there, because how else do you know how to store that item to that purchase order? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so right now, I don't know if this is the problem that you're having, but my guess is that you're navigating well when you click the buttons, but then when you're trying to store the data, it's not storing correctly in your database.
Yeah.
Is
It's
that
not-
true?
So, okay. The first problem, which is what you highlighted, was that I'm not transferring the purchase order to this page, right? So I guess with what you've done, I will solve that problem, because on this page, once I transfer the purchase order, the workflow will be now that I should edit or make changes to the purchase order that I've transferred to this page.
Exactly. So let's make that group. So group 2 is right now, it's type text.
Which one? This first one or this?
So the group, the one that, this one that we're looking at right now.
Okay.
So let's go back and change that group to be of type purchase order.
Okay.
So from appearance,
From here?
from appearance,
Where's appearance?
the first tab. So just go up and to the left. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a type purchase order already.
How is it? This must not, this is a different group then.
Okay.
So
Can
the,
we just run it? Do you want to see how it works? Maybe if you see what issues it has, then you might be able to understand it. But
no, I think I understand, because it was referring to like group 2's text. Because if you go to the condition on there,
the condition on it, yes.
it says group adds text, not group add item. So there's a group add that's of type text.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I did was, and maybe this is where I made groups where I created parameters, right? URL parameters that I can use to actually run the pages.
Okay, got it. So let's make group add a type, change it, group add in your pop-up. So
Okay.
group add should be, go to appearance and change that to be of type purchase order.
Okay.
Nope, so type of content first. And then data source, you can leave that one empty.
Okay.
Now on the page, the group add, that should be data source. Nope, so appearance and data source, and that should be group adds purchase order.
This is it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now go to the condition and say, and I think we could get away with, if instead of using the URLs here, you could say if this group's purchase order is not empty, then you want to show it.
So you're saying I should.
So right click and clear everything out.
Okay.
And then when this group purchase order is not empty, then it's going to be visible. And then we might have to say something else about and get something. We might have to change this later. Because we're only on the second step. So, but this right now, and then go into the workflows for the add button. So create a new purchase order.
Okay, so the button.
The add now. So create a new purchase order and then go to purchase orders. So go to step 2. That will work. And then click outside of that, click into a new event.
Add a new parameter.
Nope, to add a new event to the page. So where it says click here to add an event. Nope, not an action, the event just below where you are.
Okay.
Yep. So now we want to have a do when condition is true. And the condition will be when the condition on the workflow itself. When get info from, like get order from, so it's a URL parameter. So no, just type get. Yep, and data from page URL, parameter name is order. Type is order, purchase order.
Sorry.
Yep, and then say is not empty. And then you're going to display, click here to add an action.
Okay.
It'll be element actions and display. Yep, data in a group pop-up.
Data in the group pop-up.
Mm-hmm. And then the group is going to be the add item on the page. So it's the one where the information, or sorry, it'll be group add. Yep, that one. And the data to display, it will be get. So just type get, and then it's that purchase order.
Yeah, I've got to run. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Bye, Callum. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, and then that when that happens, it's going to assign the purchase order to the group add, which is going to fulfill the condition to show that group. So that might be convoluted. Like we might be better served with me just kind of stepping back and kind of thinking through how to do all of this to make it a little bit more elegant, but that should work. So now if you go and you click that add item, you should see that we should be able to inspect it and see that there is an actual item there.
Okay, so I can give. Do you want me to give it a spin?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, 1 second.
So when you click add now, okay, so this part's working. Now for your supplier name, purchase order, and all of that, is all of that auto binding, using auto binding?
I'm going to use, what I've been using is, I'm going to use, there's a plugin where I can add items to a data type. It's that musician maestro plugin. So that's what I've been using. I think you told me about it actually.
But what's the, I don't, okay, but this isn't a repeating group. This is a form.
So yeah, so the repeating group
I'm not talking about the add item part. I'm talking about the general, because the item is separate from the purchase order, right?
Yep.
Okay. So how are you saving the purchase order information into the database? Are those fields auto binding, using auto binding?
No, I'm not going to use auto binding.
Okay, then should there should be, oh, is it the add button up at the top?
Yeah, so I've not yet done it, right? Because I got stuck at this not working. So I'm going to have a save button at the end of this place where it will save all these items, right, to the purchase order. So you told me about a plugin where I could use, and I did it on the previous app where I didn't use reusable elements, where I could actually extract the data also from the repeating group and store it where I want it to be stored. So that's what I intend to use.
Okay, I think that might be a little bit more complex than you need. I would probably, for a user experience, stage this out so that the very next thing when they say add new is they are focused not on adding items, but instead adding the supplier name, the port of discharge, like all of that information, and then have it so that they click an add button that updates the purchase order in the database, and then they go to adding the items.
I don't think I get that. So you're saying I should auto bind this to the purchase order, then the items.
No, I'm not married to whether you're auto binding it or not. I think I was just expecting a button at the bottom.
Okay.
Right, where they fill out this form and then they would click a button and then they would go to the next phase of adding the items to the purchase order. Right, because I think user experience wise, it makes more sense if I click the add new button. Now I'm going to choose the supplier. I'm going to choose the port of discharge, the method of delivery, like all of these general things. And then I would click a next button and then I would have the ability to add all of the items that I need to that purchase order.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. No, I'm not using that here, user journey. I'm recommending two apps that in export finance, pretty much this is what they've been using. So I guess that's why I stuck to this method, actually.
Okay. So I mean, and that's fine. But I just, again, even when you're adding items to the purchase order, I don't think you necessarily need Orchestra for that right now. I think we can do it without. So.
Oh, sure. Then can I show you what I did before?
Sure.
Okay. So the previous one at purchase order. I'm so sorry that I'm using a lot of time today, actually.
No worries.
Okay, so this is what I had before, right?
Mhm.
Where I will add an item. Sorry, because I didn't create a purchase order, so it's not working. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is what I want to achieve, actually. Where
Right, and that looks like it's working. It's adding items, right? So the trick would be you want to, if you're using auto binding, they can just go in like you're doing, and they can change the name and the quantity, and you could have the price automatically update actually, or they could say the price, and then have the total cost is going to be multiplication from quantity to price. So that wouldn't be an input for them to change. It would just automatically calculate it. And then as you click the add item button, you already have reference to the purchase order. You can save those things in the database as you're clicking the add button. So you don't need to use Orchestra to get the information out. If you're using auto binding, it'll automatically save the information as the user goes.
Yeah, I don't know why I think I used, and I was using auto binding if I remember correctly. I used auto binding initially because that's what I knew. It was when we had the discussion, you did tell me about this and experience that I wanted right there. So because I want the user to be able to actually see everything that and actually then now save what they want, right? Before they actually move on to the next page. Then again, if they're not still comfortable with what they get finally, they can finally edit it. So pretty much, I don't want anything saved in the database, and that was the user experience I was trying to achieve here. That everything will be here blank, not here. Then once they add all the items of what they want, right, they now come down here and they save it. So it now saves this purchase order. All the items on this page will be saved in the purchase order data type. So that's the user experience I was trying to achieve here, which is what I managed to get here. But now, because I'm now to the reusable elements, I've not been able to achieve the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there are use cases, and I'm sorry if I misled you. I probably was facing something a little bit different when I suggested using Orchestra, but like the experience that you have right now, the fastest thing to do, as well as the simplest and most elegant, would be you create the purchase order, and then you create items that automatically refer back to the purchase order. And then when you click the save button at the bottom, you're changing the status of the purchase order from incomplete to complete. Right? And that way there's just one little change on that save button instead of having to go back and create all of the different items and update all of the different items. Does that make sense? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Apologies. Yeah, so you're saying the user flow should be, I'll save all these items here first, then click on next, right? Then I will now be able to save the items to now have a final.
You'll just be building it as you go. And that will be a lot faster for the user because all of the time that it actually takes to create each of those items and update them will be worked into their experience. So there won't be a delay. When they click that save button, it's a really quick change in the database, and then it'll be done. So they won't have to wait for things to be created.
Okay, maybe I should think about that because
yep, this is
trying to replicate. If I could share you something, right? So I was trying to replicate these pretty much. What's this thing? This page. Okay, so pretty much this is what I'm trying to achieve also, okay? Where I put in all the purchase data information, right? Then I create different lines, and I can now populate with the items I actually want to buy. So this is the user experience that I'm trying to replicate, which is what I also have in my own app, actually. So what you're saying is for me to do something different, and again, I don't want to go outside of what is conventional, at least because
I mean, but you don't have to do something that's different. So to me, this looks like they have save as draft and they have save and send, right? So the only difference here is, I'm assuming if you hit at the bottom, like if you navigated away from this page and you came back, they wouldn't, anything that you entered to begin with would be gone if you don't click save as draft or save and send, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm suggesting, the only difference, and we could even replicate that experience, is that you go ahead and save the purchase order, and you go ahead and you create the purchase order and you create the line items as the user's going through, and then you require a button to save it. And all that button is doing is the same thing as the difference. Go back to Zoho real quick.
Okay.
So the difference is if you click the save, you're going to go ahead and automatically save everything, and the purchase order will be in draft form as you're saving it. And then if the person navigates to the page, they won't be able to find it again because you won't have flipped the status on it yet as a draft or complete, right? And then if they click draft, you'll save the status as draft. If they click complete, you can save the status as complete. And if they actually clicked cancel, then you would delete the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like I'm saying that auto binding will give you this exact same user experience that you're trying to replicate.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, you can. Maybe you can send it to me because time is going, and I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I'll just make a quick Loom for you. But essentially, like I think if we scoped out this page and what it would look like the thing that I'm interested in doing is making sure that we know how to show or hide the various groups as needed throughout the page, and then but it looks like on that page everything was like, go back to Zoho again. If you start, your new button isn't on the same page, right? You clicked new on a different page.
So usually my own new tool is the same thing, leave this page. So the new is actually on the list page. So it has a list of all the previous purchases.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay. And now I better understand what you're trying to do. So I can scope it out pretty quickly and just kind of run you through it.
So pretty much it's the same thing I was trying to achieve, right? Let me just show you for the last time before we get out. Because I guess, is it Brittany? She's been here too for a while.
Yeah.
Let me not use the old.
Don't worry. I will take care of Brittany. And I think Brittany knows that, right, Brittany?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty much it's the same thing I wanted to achieve here, right? So usually what I want to achieve is that I have a list. I want to create a new purchase order. I go to this page. It takes me to this page. I type in here. I also want to create a list of items and tag it to this purchase order, right? So the problem I had is that once I create this new purchase order, right, the add item doesn't work. Just like the way in Zoho, where I can now add an item to the purchase order. So that's what I'm trying to achieve.
Got it.
That's without the reusable elements before, right? But now, I don't know. I think it's the reusable elements. I just don't get it yet. So.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's a tricky concept. I wish it wasn't as tricky. Maybe if they named it something different. It's like, I don't know. It can be used in multiple different ways. Reusables can. So the way I usually think of a reusable is like I have two categories of them. I have what I would call a widget reusable, and then I have a sub-page reusable. Right? And usually when I'm talking about reusable, I mean to use them as subpages. So yeah. So let me, I'll make a video kind of showing you what I have in mind for recreating that user experience.
Yeah, that works. That
Okay.
works. Thank you, Tonya.
You're welcome. Hi, Brittany. We missed you. Welcome back.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I just have a simple question. Let me start sharing. Okay, so I have two questions, but I'm just gonna ask the first one. How do I get rid of this extra scroll bar here within my page? And like, because I want this to be spread out to the maximum width of the page, but for some reason it's not doing that, and it's making my stuff look scratched up, whatever. But I've gone here and tried to take out the scroll allow. Where is it? It's a checkbox where you
Probably in layout. Yeah, I think you.
yeah. And I've done that on different
So you just want to hide the scroll. You want it to continue to scroll.
right.
Okay. This has to do with adding the CSS to the page, which we did last week. Let's see if I can find the script for it.
I've got it. I'm checking it in the chat for you.
Oh, do you? We don't want to hide the overflow. We just want to hide the scroll bar.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you mind if I pop into your app?
Sure.
All right. I'm Najori. Hi, Najori. Happy New Year. Just trying to remember how to pronounce her name. It's Natori?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty name. And which page are we on?
It's a reusable. It's called Dashboard.
Right at the very top. Okay. And then I think what we did was we put it in the actual. We're going to have to put it on the page. Which page is it in?
It says New Dashboard on the others.
New dashboard here. All right. Then I go to Pablo's here.
There's a little thing there that says you can copy the text here if that's what you're after.
Copy the code here.
Yep.
Okay.
I just like the way Pablo set out those instructions as well.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are those instructions somewhere other than Twitter? Because I don't have a Twitter.
I think they're in the vault.
Okay.
How do I copy it? Where's the copy button?
I just highlighted it and copied it.
Maybe it is highlighted. Oh, it was highlighted. I was like, different. Okay. So I'm going to go. We're going to name the element that we don't want the scroll on RG no scroll 1. Okay. And then from new dashboard in this header here, I think that's what we want. He put it in an HTML thing, but we didn't have, like, we did not have luck with that last time, right, Ben? Last week, I think we had trouble using the HTML one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
sure why, but
So,
this
okay.
worked for us.
So this one, and then the reusable itself is somewhere on this page called dashboard. So dashboard A here. And then what we want to do here is give this an ID attribute, RG no scroll 1. I think that's what. RG underscore no scroll underscore 1. RG no scroll 1. Okay, I think that will work. Who should I run this dashboard as? Brittany, who should I run it as?
Oh, sorry. I was sitting here talking. I forgot I was on mute. I don't have anything really connected to the page yet. So I was just previewing and I haven't been running it as anyone.
As
so,
a user? Okay.
Yeah. and you gotta hit the dashboard. Yeah. And
Did not
it's
work.
over there.
We were having to use the important thing. Or I think I'll have to go back and look at what we did last week, because I'm pretty sure I have this part of it right. I wonder if it makes a difference that it's in a reusable or not. Because maybe in a reusable, and then come back to the new dashboard. Nope. I'm not sure about this one, Brittany. I'll see if Pablo can help out with it,
Okay.
because it might just be a quick fix. The other thing is this does not look like a normal bubble scroll bar. So it
Right.
might be coming from a different thing. Like I'm not sure where this came from.
It's something that I put in a while back before I started redesigning, but that's the scroll bar that I put in myself.
Okay. Do you know where you put it in?
Yes, give me 1 second. Hold on. Um, I did this back with what's his name? So it's under the SEO meditates in the settings, where it says
Here.
I'm sorry, let's see. Yeah, that's it.
Got it. So I'm just gonna come in here. Okay, and then go back to new dashboard. Nope. I'm sure it's just a matter of Pablo explaining where that needs to go or how to reorder what you've set in the settings,
Okay.
because this is applying to like all of your pages,
Oh,
right?
mhm.
Like, so it might just be I need to add important somewhere here. That's what fixed it the other day, was when we added the important to all of this so that these will override these.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the,
Okay.
yeah, I'll ask Pablo for help on that.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions before we wrap up office hours?
I'm all good.
All good. Awesome. We're going to be back for episode number 202 later today, actually. Monday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, we have a second Monday session to get your week started off right as a bubbler. If you would like to join office hours and see if we can answer your bubble questions, go sign up at pronocoders.com today.